Robinson heaving one down the sideline, and he's got Kazmeir over the top. Big side down the sideline. Touchdown! His signature move and his signature performance. Allen, big ball one more time. 58 yards this time.
You're listening to the Bruin Bible. This is your host, Will Decker, bringing you UCLA football content all throughout the year for LA Football Network.
What is good, Bruin Bible listeners? It is your host, Will Decker. We got to get a sponsor in before we start this episode. It's BetOnline. BetOnline is your number one source for all your basketball info, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds and lines and the latest matchup reports for this year's NBA playoffs. BetOnline is your sports intel headquarters this season, as we have you covered for your insider sports wagering needs. From basketball, Major League Baseball, NHL, hockey, golf, to UFC and boxing, the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your home. Make sure you check out BetOnline. Get into the action today. So head to the website or use your mobile device to join, and be sure to use your promo code BELIEVE to receive your 50% bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Now to the Bruin Bible. What is up, and welcome to a very, very special edition of the Bruin Bible. You guys asked for it, man. We got the latest commitment for UCLA, Mr. Rob Booker, out in Waunakee, Wisconsin, making time out of his schedule to connect with me and the Madman. First and foremost, Rob, is it a great day to be a Bruin? Is how I want to start this off. Is it a great day to be a Bruin, my man?
Absolutely. No better time to be one.
Man, well, we are thrilled to have you up as you're throwing up the fours. A lot to talk about with this. But I want to kind of go back to the UCLA visit and how this whole thing started. You were committed to Wisconsin at the time. I believe it was a Tuesday in the middle of June. You took an unofficial visit to Westwood. Tell me about how this visit came about and what impressed you so much about Westwood and the culture UCLA football has built.
Yeah, so communications with the staff picked up probably like a month and a half, 2 months ago. And by that point, like officials were kind of like coming to a close or whatever. So they were kind of like, well, how are we going to get you out here to see everything? And then kind of like last second, the tight end coach Ferris, was like, it was like 3 days in advance. He was like, can you get out here on Tuesday? And I was like, yeah, we can probably make something work. So I got out there, got to see the campus facilities, meet the staff or whatever, go over film, all that good stuff. And it was great to see it in person. I had seen like videos and stuff, obviously, and they had been like telling me about it, but to actually see it visually, and I'd never been to LA before or that area. So it was fascinating for me, definitely.
Madman.
Rob, I mean, we're so thrilled to have you. You know, Rob, you might be a little young for this film, but there was, you may have seen The Italian Job back in the day. And so, I think we're going to start coining you Handsome Rob Booker, as your new nickname moving forward. But Rob, you're 20 minutes just about from, the University of Wisconsin, phenomenal school, great pedigree, particularly, in the trenches and at the tight end position. What went into the package in terms of UCLA from a football standpoint, a university standpoint, campus you mentioned a little bit, but walk me through your decision to ultimately make that change. It's a big life decision. And so what was it about UCLA that felt like home?
Yeah, so obviously, like you said, growing up 20 minutes away from University of Wisconsin, I've been around the Badgers my entire life, my family. Grew up Badger fans. I grew up a Badger fan, I'll admit it on here. It's hard not to when you're 20 minutes away. But I kind of realized after committing, like, just because you've always been a fan of a school doesn't mean that's what's best for you in your future. And my family kind of realized that too. My dad's always wanted me to go somewhere that wasn't Wisconsin, actually, just to get out, and actually see the world. But from a football standpoint, they both offered different things that made them unique, obviously. Offenses are kind of similar, kind of different in their own ways as well. I like how Coach Kelly uses his tight ends, specifically like Mike Ezeki this year. I loved his game against USC. I just like how they play multiple tight ends as well, and how they're so like versatile in the offense. And not a knock on Wisconsin at all. I think what they're doing is great. Obviously, I just think for me as a player, this was just a better option for me. And Coach Kelly also says, like when I had a meeting with him, he said we're about books and ball, and that's what I'm about as well. I care about academics. That's important to me. I know UCLA is a prestigious school, and a degree from here is life changing. So I look at this more as like a lifetime decision, not a 4-year decision. And that's what's important for me.
Man, you're saying all the things to endear yourself to the fan base early, Rob. one of the connections you had to getting to UCLA, and correct me if I'm wrong, I read the excellent piece by Jesse Temple you did with The Athletic. Mark Schraller was actually a fellow commitment, fellow 4-star, for UCLA's class, was actually a point of contact that got you in touch with the UCLA staff. Is this correct, Rob?
Yeah, it is.
He gave it to you, connected you with Tim Drevno and Jeff Ferris.
Yeah, so we actually met at a spring practice at Wisconsin back in April-ish. So we've been talking since then a little bit. And we talk kind of. So we were talking, and then he was like, hey, I know you're committed to Wisconsin, but would you ever think about playing for UCLA? And I was like, yeah, like, of course I would, So he got me connected. He texted Coach Drevno and said, hey, there's a guy out in Wisconsin, because they usually don't recruit east to Colorado. So there's a kid out of Wisconsin, blah, blah, blah. And then Coach Drevno got my film to Coach Ferris. Coach Ferris DM'd me on Twitter and called me like right away. He's like, hey, we love your film. Give me a call. So we talked like 20 minutes. Like this was probably like 30 minutes after my conversation with Mark. So it was all fast. It picked up fast, but it was exciting. And I do credit Mark for giving or showing them my film and, putting in a good word for me essentially. So I appreciate him for that.
Rob, what specifically about Chip Kelly's offense really sort of resonates with you? And for those fans who are just starting to get to know you, who do you sort of identify your game after, in terms of another college player, an NFL player? And how do you see yourself kind of making an impact in this offensive system, hopefully immediately?
Yeah, so I say the thing that stands out the most is the versatility that the tight end, like how versatile they are in the offense. From, splitting out to putting your hand in the dirt, being in the backfield, whatever it may be. Also, I think the tight ends that Coach Kelly has coached has stood out. He coached Zach Ertz, Asiasi, Zeke. Gosh, I forget his name. He's on the Broncos right now.
Yeah.
Him. So there's obviously a lot of talented tight ends that have came out of this offense. So that stood out to me as well, along with the versatility aspect. And then for a player I would like compare myself to or try to model my game after is tough, because I feel like I'm a different tight end than most. But so I kind of try to pick things up from all like tight ends. Like I use the Georgia tight ends, for example, like Darnell Washington. I think he's a monster. Like the way he blocks and dominates it in the blocking game, but there's also a threat catching the ball and run after catch. Also, Brock Bowers obviously is probably the best tight end prospect. I don't know how long, but so really just picking up little things from different guys. More in college, I feel like I watch more college football than NFL. So I just try to pick little things up from college guys, NFL guys along the way.
Yeah, man. And I want to just kind of reach out on this point. UCLA is joining the Big Ten next year. It's a huge move for the LA-based team that has always been in the Pac-12. Did it play any factor to you in your commitment to UCLA, knowing that you'd be able to come home and maybe play in front of friends and family, whether it is Wisconsin, whether it's Iowa, Michigan, whatever it may be, a little easier of a commute for your family and friends, Rob? Yeah,
for sure. That was definitely a positive for me. And definitely weighed a little bit into this decision. Not that the Pac-12 is, like a lower tier conference, but the Big Ten is, it's up there obviously with like the SEC, if not, I mean, you could argue that like that topic. But I think, like you said, with the family aspect, I mean, Iowa, Minnesota, they're both like 3 hours away from where my family lives. Obviously, if we play back in Wisconsin, 20-minute drive for them. So it's convenient for my family to get them to come see me play, hopefully. And I think just the Big Ten, like competition-wise, that's exciting for me. I want to compete. I want to play against the best. So that definitely stood out as well.
Rob, in terms of the evaluation of your decision, you talked, and it sounded like it was very holistic. You talked to the position coaches with Chip, with film, the offense. Did the quarterback room play a role in terms of, the individuals who are going to throw you the ball, both this year and in years beyond, particularly Dante Moore, someone who is, around your neck of the woods. You guys could potentially grow together as an incredible duo. Talk me through that a little bit. Did that play a role in terms of your assessment and how you thought about that?
Originally, actually not. But when I actually went out there, we ended up going out to dinner, and it was me, Coach Ferris, Dante Moore, Justin Williams, and 3 or 4 other guys. But I was sitting next to Dante. So we got a chance to chop it up for about an hour at the dinner. He's a Midwestern guy, so I can relate. It was really nice to be able to connect with someone who's kind of in the same shoes, coming from the Midwest, going out west. So he was really talking like really highly just of his time since he's early enrolled and back in January, whatever, and he had no bad things to say. So that kind of made me feel good, obviously. And he said, I asked him when he planned on going home. He was like, I'm not going home. I'm probably gonna end up staying here. It'll be a while before I go back home. So I was like, oh, okay. So, being able to relate to him, that made me feel better, obviously. And knowing and just watching how they talk to each other and are so close, the chemistry is high and they just get along. It's a brotherhood there. And I really appreciate that. And that's exciting.
Rob, I know you know what I'm talking about. When Wisconsin players, for as great as a football state it is, you've got the Packers, you've got University of Wisconsin. A lot of the recruits from there are very underrated. If you look back at your Watt families, your Melvin Gordons, your Joe Thomases, these guys were 3-star prospects, 2 stars if you're talking about JJ Watt. And I see a lot of that with you, man. I see your film. I see how the offers have come in. I think you're highly underrated as a prospect, given it's Wisconsin. And it makes no sense to me knowing that, the Ohios, the Michigans, the Pennsylvanias, the teams within the Big Ten Conference, a lot of them have the 4- and 5-star statuses. Do you have a chip on your shoulder knowing that Wisconsin high school football and their prospects don't get the love that I think they deserve nationally?
Yeah, definitely. We've obviously got some guys. I think we got 3 or 4 4-star guys in the state. But even them, I think, should be higher. I think they're still underrated. So definitely, it's got a little chip on my shoulder. But at the end of the day, I don't really care too much about rankings. I try not to look into that too much. Because at the end of the day, I know what I can bring to the table as an athlete and student, obviously. But yeah, so I try not to look too much into that. I think Wisconsin is criminally underrated, though, in terms of the prospects and recruits that come out. But it is what it is. That's how it is. And I think the state has kind of learned to live with that. But it's all right.
Bruin Bible listeners, we've got a special sponsor for today's episode. It is AG1. AG1 has been something that I've really enjoyed using in my spare time. 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole-source food nutrients in one scoop that you can use into your water. You stir it up. I use it before my workouts, before I start my day, and it has totally given me the energy I need to do the little things in life, like going to work, getting extra, an extra boost, a second wind, if you will, for a workout. Before I play pickleball with my friends, just it puts you in a good spirit of mind, and you're doing the healthiest possible thing by putting AG1 in your body. Make sure to check us out and get a special deal with the Bruin Bible. It's www.drinkag1.com/Bruin Bible to get the special deal that we provide. Once again, www.drinkag1.com/Bruin Bible to get that special deal. Now, back to the Bruin Bible.
Rob, it's hard to believe, but we're about, just about 2 months, left in the offseason until, the balls kick off here in the fall in the season. What does your next 2 months sort of look like in terms of summer preparation? Obviously, you're coming to a new place, new environment. How is your sort of preparation, your rhythm? What is potentially going to change now with this decision, if anything? And walk me through kind of the things that you're kind of top of mind in terms of your prep, in terms of mind and body, getting ready for the season.
Yeah, so right now we're just doing like off-season workouts in the morning, as well as 7v7 stuff. And we're actually technically not allowed to like practice. We get like 5 contact days, so the state of Wisconsin's a little different. But actual practice for it starts on August 1st. So we have like contact days and 7-on-7s in between there. And in terms of like what I'm trying to do, I guess even further to look at the college, like by the time I'm here at UCLA.
Yeah.
I mean, I talked to Coach Ferris yesterday. Actually, we were talking about my weight a little bit. I'm about 215 right now, and he told me that he doesn't want me to gain that much weight like before I get there because he doesn't want me to put it on the wrong way or whatever. So, I'm just going to maintain my body, obviously improve. We were talking some stuff I could improve on, like my blocking skills, like breaking on route running and stuff like that. So obviously I'm going to key those up and listen to them and work on that stuff. But overall, just like everything in my game, I think I can polish up. This is my first year at tight end, so it's all new to me. So I'm learning on the go as well.
Rob, talk to me about your relationship with the coaching staff. You mentioned Jeff Ferris reached out to you over DM. You guys clearly have a good enough relationship to the point where you guys committed. Tim Drevno came and visited you at high school. I mean, this is a guy that has NFL tutelage, has coached at the highest level, coming in and, talking to you out on the field. And have you gotten to talk to Chip yet? Talk to us about Chip Kelly. Talk to us about those 3 coaches, because I think from the UCLA fan perspective, it's very different to hear from the athlete who gets to interact with these guys on a daily basis.
Yeah, so I talk to Coach Ferris usually 2 to 3 times a week. Yesterday, he FaceTimed me and we were going over some plays, like in their playbook or whatever. So we're already kind of on the go for that. But before it was obviously, getting to know me, me getting to know him, stuff like that. And when I went out there, I got a chance to actually meet Coach Kelly. We talked for probably like 30 minutes in his office. He's a very genuine guy. We were talking a lot about the weather. He's from New Hampshire. So he was obviously talking about the area a lot, how they're about books and ball, like I said earlier, and we were just talking football. He's a great coach, great guy. And then Coach Drevno obviously came out to see me back in May, I believe it was. So him coming out, I obviously knew that they care. Like they cared about me. They wouldn't just fly from LA to Waunakee, Wisconsin to see a recruit. So that meant a lot to me. And then after I committed, I got a text from basically everyone on the staff, like saying welcome. The entire tight end room too. They all text me, all the guys.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's all great stuff. Makes me feel welcome, and the staff is great. Everyone a part of the team is awesome.
That's awesome, Rob. It's so great to hear about the culture. And you've now referenced books and ball a few times, which, endears the fan base and us 2 hosts to no end. But tell me a little bit about Rob off the field. What are your likes? What are your passions? What are your interests? And how do you see UCLA kind of fitting into that? And are there things kind of academically, extracurricular wise that you may be kind of excited about down the road?
Yeah. So off the field, I like to work out, not just like, I liked working out before I really got into football. Obviously before I was lifting more like a bodybuilder versus like an athlete. But I enjoy working out, obviously, hanging with friends. I live like 15 minutes away from the lake too. So I go boating a lot. My grandma lives on the lake.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I mean, I really don't do a whole lot. I like movies sometimes, in my free time if I have a little bit of time. But other than that, really just chilling. I'm not, too unique in that aspect. But in LA, I feel like that's perfect because if I want to go to the beach or go to the city, I can do that. Or if I want to just chill in my dorm and go out with some of the teammates on Rodeo or whatever, or just see campus, like, I mean, it's the best of both worlds for me out there. So
That's awesome.
Man. Well, we've reached the part where we're going to be doing the speed round, Rob, and this is just personal questions. You touched on your love of movies. I got to hear which one is your favorite movie. We got a couple questions. Why don't we lead off with that first question, Rob? What is your favorite movie? What is the one movie you would watch over any other in your catalog?
I'm glad you asked me that. My favorite movie is Interstellar. Best Christopher Nolan film. I'm excited for Oppenheimer.
Yes.
I'm excited for that. But Interstellar is definitely my favorite. I like all Christopher Nolan movies, really. But that's my favorite.
Did you like Tenet, or was that too complicated? Because I knew a lot of people that were, hit or miss. I thought it was the most complex script I've ever, seen play out in a movie.
Yeah, definitely. It's probably that's probably my least favorite of his films. But it wasn't bad. Like you said, it was just a lot to soak in. But yeah, I mean, it was all right. I liked Inception too, though. I like The Prestige with Christian Bale.
Oh, that one's great. Yeah, the Magician one. That one is so good.
Yeah,
Christian Bale always kills. I mean, The Dark Knight too.
I know exactly.
Like, Chris Nolan doesn't miss, man. He's like the LeBron of movies. We love Chris Nolan. Favorite musician, Rob? I'm kind of an old hip hop head, so I'm into my Kendricks, my J. Cole's, your Drakes, whatever it may be. What are you listening to, Rob? What's your favorite artist?
My favorite artist is actually Drake.
Smart man.
It's probably because my dad plays him 24/7 in the car, and it has been since I was like 8. But no, Drake is definitely my favorite. Everyone knows that Drake is my favorite. All my friends, they kind of get mad at me for it because he's really the only guy I listen to. I like Future though, Travis Scott. Those are probably my top 3. But Drake definitely, he's most of the songs on my playlist. So,
dude, I love that. So your dad is going to have to come to some of our tailgates. We'll be bumping some Drake out there when they come out to Westwood eventually. I'm going to put you on the spot here, man. Favorite Drake album? This is a tough question for the Drake heads like you and me. What is your favorite album from Drake?
Probably Demo Tapes.
Okay.
My favorite song is Not You Too on there.
That one was a problem, man.
Yeah, I like that album.
Dark Knight Demo Tapes was really, really fire. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Dream vacation spot, Rob. Where are you going and why?
Probably, I'd probably say like Hawaii. I've never been there. Probably just like an island somewhere. More isolated. But I'm not really sure. But probably like Hawaii or, an isolated island somewhere.
Dude, I went for the first time last year. I can assure you that is going to be Rob's dream vacation spot. He's going to love it out there.
I got to get there.
Last question I got for you, Rob. Who is the player you want to, emulate when it comes to the football field? Is it a Kyle Pitts? That's kind of the vibe I got from you in terms of athleticism. Is it a Travis Kelce where you're running the routes out there? Who is the player that Rob Booker wants to emulate on the football field, man?
I'd probably say honestly, kind of like a Gronk. Like he was just so dominant when he played. I kind of just want to be, when I leave UCLA, I want to be remembered as a dominant player. And Gronk dominated in all aspects of the game at the tight end position. So, I think definitely Gronk. Just because, like I said, his domination and the legacy he left as a Patriot. So yeah, definitely.
Well, if you're going to pick a tight end, you pick the best one in the history. Rob, my guy, dude, welcome to the UCLA family. We want to, open our arms up to you, man. We are so happy that you are a UCLA Bruin.
Absolutely.
And we are so excited to see you out in Westwood, my man. So thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on this pod with us.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you guys for having me on.
Hey, man, 4's up. UCLA fans, Bruin Bible, we are officially out. throw our guy Rob Booker a follow before I leave. What is your Twitter and Instagram handles, man, so the UCLA natives can go out and follow you?
Both are Robert Booker with 2 R's at the end of Booker. So
Love it.
Hey, man,
Yep.
you heard it from the man himself. Bruin Bible, we are officially out.